My wife said, "Sign over your dead mum's house or I'll take the kids." Days later, DNA results exposed both kids weren't mine, so I smirked. Your blackmail just backfired. I, 36 male, lost my mom 6 months ago. Cancer, it was rough. She left me her house, nothing fancy, just a 3-bedroom ranch she'd paid off 20 years ago. My wife Diane, 34, had been pushing me to sell it since the day after the funeral. Not subtle hints either. Full-on daily campaigns about how we could upgrade our lifestyle and give the kids better opportunities. We've been married 11 years, 2 kids, Lily, 9, and Mason, 7. I thought we were solid, despite Diane becoming increasingly materialistic over the years. The house conversation got worse last month. I was having coffee, going through Mom's photo albums I'd found in the attic when Diane slammed a folder on the table. "What's this paperwork to transfer your mom's house to our names? Both of us. It's been 6 months. Time to stop wallowing and think about our family's future. I'm not ready to make decisions about the house. When will you be ready? When the roof caves in? When squatters move in? It's maintained. I check on it twice a week." She stood up. "You know what? I'm done being patient. Either you sign these papers by Friday, or I'm taking the kids and filing for divorce. And trust me, I'll get custody. I'm the primary caregiver. You work 60-hour weeks. You're threatening me with our children. I'm being practical. The kids deserve a mother who puts their needs first. That house could pay for their college. Let me think about it." She smiled. That should have been my first warning. Diane never smiled when she thought she was losing. Here's the thing about Christmas. Diane had bought the whole family, 23, and me kits as gifts. Said it would be fun to explore our heritage. Kids loved it. Spit in the tubes, sent them off, forgot about it. Results came in 3 weeks after her ultimatum. Perfect timing. Really? I was actually excited at first. Mum had always wondered about her father's side of the family. He'd been adopted. Thought maybe I'd find some cousins or something. Logged in, checked my results. Pretty boring. 62% Irish, 31% German, 7% Scottish, whatever. Then I clicked on DNA relatives. That's when my world exploded. Lily matched as half-niece nephew. Mason showed as no biological relationship. I stared at that screen for probably an hour, ran the math 100 times. There was only one explanation. Neither of my kids were mine. The half-niece thing meant Lily was my brother's kid. My brother Trevor, who lived 30 minutes away, who'd been at our wedding, who came to every birthday party. I threw up, actually ran to the bathroom and puked. Then I called in sick and drove to my mum's empty house, sat on her kitchen floor, and cried like I hadn't since her funeral. Those kids were my world. I'd coached Mason's little league, taught Lily to ride a bike, read them stories every night when they were small. None of it mattered. Biologically, they weren't mine. That night, I acted normal, helped with homework, made dinner. Diane complained about the house again, but I just nodded. After she went to bed, I did some digging, logged into her email. We shared passwords, ironically, for transparency. Searched Trevor's name, found emails from 9 years ago, right after Lily was born. Last night was a mistake. We can't do this again. Think about your family, and one that made my blood run cold. The baby looks just like you. Thank God she got my eyes. For Mason. I searched around his conception time, found emails with someone named Garrett, her personal trainer from back then. Lots of workout schedules at weird hours. One email had a photo attachment them at a hotel bar. Her wearing the necklace I'd bought her for our anniversary. I screenshot everything, uploaded it to 3 different cloud services, emailed copies to my lawyer buddy. Then I cleared the browser history and went to bed. Diane was already asleep. I looked at her for a long time. 11 years. 11 years of lies. The next morning, she hit me with, "So, have you thought about the house? Fridays in 2 days. Still thinking. Think faster. I've already talked to a lawyer." "About what?" "Custody arrangement. I'm getting primary. You'll get every other weekend if you're lucky." I almost laughed. Based on what? Based on reality, I do everything for those kids. You're just the ATM. Interesting perspective. She squinted at me. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. Just interesting." That afternoon, I went to see a family lawyer, not my buddy, an actual shark. Eileen Rodriguez. She'd handled my co-worker's brutal divorce and got him full custody despite his ex's false abuse claims. I showed her everything, the DNA results, the emails, the timeline. She leaned back. "Paternity fraud in this state. That's grounds for immediate divorce. And her threatening to withhold the children while knowing they're not yours, that's extortion. What about custody? You've been their father for their entire lives. You have rights." But she paused. "Do you want custody? They're my kids. DNA doesn't change that." She smiled. "A good answer. Here's what we're going to do." Update 1. Friday came. Diane was practically vibrating with anticipation at breakfast. "So, are we doing this the easy way or the hard way?" I slid an envelope across the table. "The legal way." She opened it. Divorce papers. Her face went white, then red. "You think you're calling my bluff? Fine. Kids, pack your bags. We're going to Grandma's." "Actually," I said, pulling out another document. "That's a temporary restraining order, preventing you from taking the children out of the home during proceedings. You can't do that." Page 3, paragraph 2. Judge signed it yesterday. She grabbed her phone. "I'm calling my lawyer." "Good idea. Tell them about the paternity fraud." She froze. "What?" "The 23andMe tests. You know the ones you bought us for Christmas?" Interesting results. The color drained from her face completely. "I don't know what you're talking about. Trevor's going to be surprised to know he has a daughter." "And Garrett? Does he even know about Mason?" She sat down hard. "You're wrong. The tests are wrong. Email timestamps aren't wrong. The baby looks just like you. Remember writing that?" Lily walked in. "Why are you guys being weird? Just adult stuff." "Sweetie, go get ready for school." After the kids left for school, Diane tried damage control. "Okay, let's talk about this rationally. You love those kids. I do. Then why destroy their lives over mistakes I made years ago? I'm not destroying anything. You did that when you passed off another man's child as mine twice." "It was complicated. Was it complicated when you threatened to take them from me 3 days ago? When you tried to use them as leverage to steal my mother's house? I wasn't stealing. I'm your wife. We're past tense." She stood up. "You know what? Fine. But I'll still get the house. It's marital property. Mum died after we separated. We haven't separated. We have now. You'll be served with eviction papers on Monday. You have 30 days. You can't kick me out of my home. It's not your home. Never was. Check the deed. And that prenup you forgot about, the one you signed because you had nothing to hide. Pretty ironclad about premarital assets and inheritance." She started crying. Not sad tears, angry tears. "You planned this." "No, Diane. You planned this when you bought those DNA tests, when you threatened me, when you cheated with my brother and your trainer. I'm just better at chess than you thought." She grabbed her purse and stormed out. 20 minutes later, my phone exploded with texts from her family, my brother, and random friends. The narrative was already spinning. I was having a mental breakdown from grief and taking it out on my family. I posted one Facebook status. DNA tests reveal neither of my children are biologically mine. Divorce proceedings have begun. Please respect our privacy during this difficult time. Then I turned off my phone and went to work. Update 2. The fallout was nuclear. Trevor showed up at my office. My own brother tried to play dumb at first. Look, I don't know what Diane told you. She didn't tell me anything. Lily's DNA did. She's your daughter. Trevor. He collapsed into a chair. It was one time. Email evidence says otherwise. Does Monica know? His wife. Not from me yet. What do you want? I want you to admit it in writing for the court. That's admission of adultery. Monica will divorce me. That's your problem. He got angry then. Have you really going to destroy your own brother over this? You slept with my wife. You let me raise your child for 9 years. But sure, I'm the villain. He signed the affidavit. Monica found out anyway. Someone from my Facebook post connected the dots and told her they're separated now. He's living in an extended stay hotel. Garrett was easier to find. Still a personal trainer. Now married with 3 kids of his own. I had Eileen send him a formal notice about potential paternity claims. He called me directly. Hey man, I just got this letter. Mason's your son. That's impossible. We use protection. DNA doesn't lie. I can't. My wife. I have a family. So did I. He hung up. His wife called me an hour later, crying. I felt bad for her. She didn't deserve this. But Mason deserved to know the truth eventually. Meanwhile, Diane went scorched earth, but not in the predictable social media way. She was smarter than that. She filed a complaint with Child Protective Services, said I was having a psychological crisis and was a danger to the children. CPS showed up at my door at 7:00 a.m. on a Saturday. The investigator looked tired. Mr. Morrison. We received a concerning report. I handed her a folder. Here's the divorce filing, DNA results, and documentation of paternity fraud. My lawyer said you'd probably show up. She reviewed everything. So, the children aren't biologically yours, but you've raised them their whole lives, correct? And you want to continue raising them? They're my kids. Biology doesn't change that. She interviewed the kids separately. Lily told her I was the best dad ever, and she didn't understand why Mom was being mean. Mason said he just wanted everyone to stop fighting. The investigator closed the case as unfounded within a week. But Diane wasn't done. She tried to empty our accounts, except I'd already separated my finances based on my lawyer's advice. She got what was in the joint checking about $1,800. She maxed out the credit cards. Joke's on her. I'd reported them stolen after finding out about the affairs. The fraud department was very interested in $8,000 of charges at luxury stores after a separation filing. Then came the real kicker. Update 3. Diane's lawyer dropped her. Found out through mine, apparently. She'd lied to them about the paternity issue. When they saw the DNA evidence, they withdrew from the case, citing irreconcilable differences in strategy. She hired another lawyer, then another. Word got around the legal community. Paternity fraud cases are tricky, and she threatened to weaponize the kids while knowing they weren't mine. No decent lawyer wanted that mess. She ended up with Lloyd Brennan. If you Googled sleazy divorce attorney, his face would come up. His strategy was simple: scorched earth emotional manipulation. First hearing was about temporary custody and support. Diane showed up dressed like she was going to church crying before we even started. Lloyd argued I was abandoning the children by questioning paternity. The judge, an older woman named Judge Kathleen Taus, was not impressed. Mr. Brennan, your client committed paternity fraud twice. She then attempted to use these children as leverage for financial gain. Why should this court reward that behavior? Your Honor, my client made mistakes in her past, but Meister Morrison accepted these children as his own until your client threatened to weaponize them. Diane burst out. He's trying to steal my babies. Judge Torres looked at her over her glasses. Ma'am, according to these DNA results, one is your brother-in-law's and one is your trainer's. Perhaps they should be part of this conversation. I was granted temporary primary custody. Diane got supervised visitation every other weekend. She had to pay me temporary child support based on income calculations. The look on her face when that was announced? Pure rage. Outside the courthouse, she grabbed my arm. You think you've won? I'll tell them. I'll tell the kids everything. Tell them what? That you lied about who their fathers are, that you used them as pawns. Go ahead. Lloyd pulled her away, but she screamed, You'll never get that house. I'll burn it down first. Several people heard her, including a court reporter on her lunch break. That threat would come back to haunt her. Update 4. Mom's house got broken into. Nothing stolen, but someone had spray-painted cheater and liar on the walls, poured bleach on the hardwood floors. My mom had refinished herself. Cops found Diane's gym T card in the backyard. She claimed it was planted. Security footage from the neighbor showed a figure in a hoodie that walked exactly like Diane. Same distinctive hip swing she had from an old cheerleading injury. She was arrested for vandalism and breaking and entering. Posted bail using her parents' money. Her parents, by the way, were initially on her side until they saw the evidence. Her mom, Frances, called me crying. We didn't raise her like this. We're so sorry. It's not your fault. We want to see the grandkids. Of course, you're still their grandparents. That pissed Diane off even more. She showed up at their house screaming about taking sides. Her dad, Robert, had to threaten to call the cops. Meanwhile, the kids were struggling but doing better than expected. Got them into therapy immediately. The therapist said, kids are resilient, and what matters is consistent love, not DNA. Lily asked me one night, Are you still my dad forever and always? Even if Mom says you're not, biology doesn't make a dad. Sweetie, love does. Mason was quieter about it, but one day he said, Mom's being weird. She keeps saying stuff about Uncle Trevor and some guy named Garrett. Don't worry about it, buddy. Are you and Mom getting divorced? Yeah, we are good. She's mean to you. Kids see more than we think. Final update. The final divorce hearing was last week. Diane had gone through 4 lawyers by then. Lloyd had dropped her after the vandalism arrest. She was now representing herself with assistance from some paralegal she was probably sleeping with. She showed up in the same white outfit she'd worn to our wedding. I kid you not. Some kind of psychological play? I guess. She tried to argue she deserved the house because of emotional damages from me exposing her mistakes. Judge Torres actually laughed. Ma'am, you bought the DNA tests. You created this situation. I was trying to bring our family together by threatening to take children you knew weren't his biological offspring. Then Diane made her biggest mistake. She stood up and said, Fine. If I can't have them, neither can he. Trevor should raise Lily. Garrett should raise Mason. They're the real fathers. The judge's face went stone cold. So, you're abandoning your parental rights. I know. Because it sounds like you're saying if you can't use these children as leverage, you don't want them at all. Diane's paralegal tried to whisper something to her, but she shook him off. They were supposed to be my security, my insurance policy. Now they're worthless. The entire courtroom went silent. Judge Torres looked disgusted. I've heard enough. The ruling, I got full custody with Diane getting supervised visitation 1 weekend a month. The house remained 100% mine. Diane had to pay child support, despite them not being biologically mine. Court ruled I was the presumed father due to marriage and established relationship. She got none of our assets except her car and personal belongings. She had to pay my legal fees. The vandalism charges were forwarded to criminal court. But the best part, Trevor and Garrett were ordered to pay retroactive child support. The court ruled that biological fathers have financial obligations regardless of deception. Trevor now pays $400 per month for Lily. Garrett pays $350 for Mason. That money goes into college funds I set up for the kids. Monica divorced Trevor and took him for everything. Garrett's wife stayed with him but made him get a vasectomy. I heard that from his lawyer, who was begging me not to push the child support issue. Too late. Diane moved back with her parents, who are mortified. She lost her job as the marketing manager when the arrest became public. Last I heard, she was working at a mall kiosk, selling phone cases. She tried one last manipulation, sent the kids letters saying I wasn't their real dad, and they should come live with her. Lily threw hers in the trash. Mason brought his to me and said, "Mom's being weird again." I adopted them officially last month. Had to get permission from Trevor and Garrett, who signed immediately to avoid further legal issues. The kids were thrilled. We had a small celebration at where else? Mom's house, which I'd fully restored. The 23andMe thing became a running joke with friends. Someone suggested I should send Diane a thank you card for buying the tests that exposed her own lies. I didn't, but I thought about it yesterday. Lily asked if she could do a school project about DNA and genetics. Her teacher called me, concerned it might be traumatic given our situation. I told her, Lily knows DNA doesn't make a family. Love does. The teacher cried, said it was the most beautiful thing she'd heard. As for me, I'm in therapy, working through trust issues. Started dating a woman named Amy who knows the whole story and jokes that at least she knows I'll be a good dad since I fought so hard for kids that weren't even mine biologically. The kids like her. She doesn't push, just shows up with pizza and helps with homework. Normal stuff, honest stuff. Diane still sends me angry texts from new numbers. Things like, "You stole my life and this isn't over." I don't respond. The court orders speak for themselves. To anyone dealing with similar situations, document everything. Lawyer up immediately. Don't let them use kids as weapons. And remember, being a parent isn't about DNA. It's about showing up. Mom would be proud I kept her house in the family. Even prouder that I kept my kids because that's what they are. My kids. Oh, and fun fact, the judge's ruling set a precedent in our state for paternity fraud cases. It's now called Morrison v. Morrison and is cited in family law textbooks. My lawyer framed the ruling hangs next to his law degree. Deanne's legacy is being the legal example of what not to do in a divorce. Seems fitting? Edit. Stop asking for the DNA test results. I'm not sharing my kids' genetic information. Edit 2. To the 3 people who messaged saying Diane was trapped in a loveless marriage. She trapped me in a fraudulent marriage twice with 2 different men while stealing from our grocery money. Miss me with that nonsense. Edit 3. Yes, I'm still paying for the kids' therapy. Yes, they're doing great. Lily just made honor roll and Mason's team won their baseball tournament. We celebrated at Mum's house with a barbecue. Life's good.